In this presentation, we are going to look at matrices. We're going to look at simple matrix calculations such as matrix addition and matrix multiplication. So given the following adjacency matrices A, B, and C, where we have A given as such, B given as such, and C given as such, what we're asked to do here is calculate A plus B times C. So first off, what we're going to do is just look at the dimensions of each of the matrices. So this has 2 rows and 2 columns, 2 by 2. This has 2 rows and 3 columns, so that's a 2 by 3. And C has 3 rows and 2 columns. Okay, so first off, B and C. What is the dimensions of B and C? Well, that is a 2 by 3, that's B, by 3 by 2. Okay, so what is the dimensions of the overall matrix? It is essentially, if first off, the number of columns of the first one has to equal the number of rows of the second one. So these two numbers have to be equal to each other. And in that case, that's B and C. So in that case, these are equal to each other. These matrices are compatible in terms of dimension, so we can multiply them. And what is the dimension? It is the number of rows of the first column times the number of rows of the first matrix times the number of columns from the second matrix. So what we have is a 2 by 2 matrix. So B and C is B times C is a 2 by 2 matrix. A is also a 2 by 2 matrix, and we can add them together, no problem. So what we have to do first off is multiply B times C. So and we know it's going to be a 2 by 2 matrix. So let's go to a new page here. So B times C. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to just concentrate on B times C first. So I'm going to write out 2 and leave this blank, minus 3 with a blank space there, plus 7. And I'm going to write the same thing again here. 2 blank minus 3 blank plus 7 blank. That's the top row. What I'm going to do now is write the bottom row. So I'm going to do something very similar here. 1 minus 0, or plus 0, plus 2, and 1 plus 0 plus 2. Okay. So you might sort of say what I've done is I've written out the top row twice and the bottom row twice, and I've left room for multiplication after each coefficient in the row. So what I'm going to do now is multiply the column values by the row values. So what I'm going to do is for the top row here, I'm going to put in the respective column values here. So in the first column, I'm going to put in the coefficients for the first column, 1, 4, and 0. And in the second one, we have minus 2, 3, and 5, minus 2, 3, and 5. Same thing for the bottom row. I'm going to put in the values from the first column of C, 1, 4, and 0. And likewise here, the second column, minus 2, 3, and 5. Okay. So essentially what I'm going to do is this is sort of allows me to calculate the values. So essentially what I'm going to do is multiply all these out. So this is actually the basic calculations of B times C. So now what I'm going to do is just calculate everything. So 2 minus 12, that's 2 times 1, minus 3 times 4, so that's minus 12, plus 7 times 0, that's 0. Let's do the one underneath. 1 plus 0, that's 0 times 4, plus 2 times 0 over here, we get 0. The next column, minus 4 2 times minus 2. Minus 3 times 3, that's minus 9. But plus 7 times 35, that is, times 5, that's plus 35. Minus 2, 0, and 10. That gives us the last value there. So essentially all we have to do now is figure out these values here. 2 minus 12, that gives us minus 10. 1 plus 0 plus 0, 1. Minus 4, minus 9 plus 35. With a bit of calculator work, you'd find that to be 22. Minus 2 plus 0 plus 8, that gives us 8. Minus 2 plus 0 plus 10, that gives us 8. So that is actually B times C. Whoops. So that's the values of B plus C. So all we have to do now is add them to A. Let's go on to a new slide here. So what we have here is 1, 3, minus 2, and 4, plus minus 10, 22, 1, and 8. All I have to do here is add the corresponding values. So 1 plus minus 10, that gives us minus 9. 3 plus 22, that gives us 25. That's the top right. Bottom left, minus 2 and 1, that gives us minus 1. Bottom right, 4 plus 8, that gives us 12. So that is the answer there. That is A plus B times C. And that's the answer. So that ends our presentation.